years or better. I remember when he was a nobody coming to be somebody, and now he's somebody. And I remember when he first started getting into it, I used to ask him, I say, man, kind of focus your attention on these youngsters and trying to get them on the right track. And so far, I can't remember no music I heard from him that he was trying to put them like, what you call these guys, felony?
A negative implant.
Implant, yeah.
That's what we call it, negative implant music.
Yeah, and he always been positive to what he been doing, bringing things to the ears that we need to hear, not the bad things that we shouldn't be hearing. And with that, I want to say good morning, Runt. And hey, man, I'm proud of you. You know, as an elder, I'm proud of you for what you're accomplishing, what you're doing. You know, and I wish you all the success, man. But tell the people about yourself.
Well, I've been doing it for a minute, but sometimes you got to go through things to understand that some things you just shouldn't be doing, you know.
Yeah.
And I took a negative, made it positive. I started Felon Entertainment, and it means the freedom every living organism needs, you know. And so we got so many people traveling the wrong path. I did that, you know, and it hurt a lot of people more than it hurt myself. So now you have to just live for the day and stop living for tomorrow, and stop doing the bad things, because you're going to end up in jail. You're going to end up strung out on drugs. You're going to end up hurting your family. You're not going to be able to raise your kids. You know, it's a lot goes with it. So I try to teach the right thing, and I just took another pat with it, man. I just try to bring my negative and make it positive and let you see the things I've been through, so you don't have to go through what I've been through. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I mean, it's a living, learning experience, and I've seen a lot in my life. So I'm blessed just to still be alive, just still be able to be relevant. You know, do the right thing, and bless a lot of people, because a lot of my fans is 50 up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times I get to shows and they're like, man, we don't want to hear no rap music. And when I finish, they're like, where can I get a CD?
Yeah.
You know,
Wow.
So that's a blessing that I'm able to open some ears and bring some light, because a lot of the music they playing on the radio now is not what's happening.
No, it ain't. It ain't. Yeah.
And Run, you know what? For young people that's looking at the show, being in the entertainment industry is a hard task, because you got so many obstacles that you got to fight. You know, you got to worry about pay. You got to worry about putting your stuff out there and getting money for you to survive.
Right.
And sometimes those things are hard tasks when it pertains to being in the music industry, because you got people that just want to hold you at a certain level.
Yeah, and he do have a what is a podcast or a TV show that comes on. I can't remember what days, because I'm always with the channel changer in my hand and
Yeah.
and run across it, you know. So explain to the audience.
Well, I got a couple of things going on. My show comes on every Monday at 6:30. Cox 15 LUS3. It's called Felon Television. I go around, I interview local businesses. I try to play local videos that's clean videos, you know what I'm saying, and just try to bring a little laughter. And I've been on the air for about 2 years, but my radio show comes on every Friday at 9
yeah.
on 92.7, 104.1. It's called Grown Folks Hip Hop Radio.
Yeah, I'm listening to that too.
Yeah, and I play all the old school hip hop, the Chubb Rock and MC Hammer and all that stuff there. But, you know, I try to bring that when music was good, you know.
Yeah.
Because
You're a young man with an old head.
Old head, man.
Well, when you say music was good is when music brought people together.
Yeah.
Now, what music is doing right now is tearing people apart.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, with the negativity.
Right.
You know, and that's just not right, man. I will not support people that don't have the positive flow, the positive mind.
But you're not going to see a lot of it. There's so much good music out there that's positive, but you never get to hear it because It's outdone by all the negative music that the industry want played. It's built to tear us down.
Well, because we allow when it pertains to radio shows right now, radio shows sometimes they play the negative stuff. They're not playing the positive stuff. It's because that's the way the world is now. Social media, everything on social media right now is negative.
Right.
And that's why we got to keep fighting to produce positive stuff and to keep our stuff played. Even if we got to do our podcast, whatever we have to do it on our own.
I forgot to say good morning to Paul out of Lake Charles.
Good
morning, Paul.
Paul Owen?
He might not be. He gonna come on.
Good morning. Good morning, y'all. And you guess welcome to the show.
All right.
Glad to meet you, make your acquaintance, bro.
He's out of Lake Charles.
Oh, all right.
He's on the phone.
Yeah, he's on the phone.
Okay, I'm gonna be in Lake Charles on the 20th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Well, where you gonna be at in Lake Charles?
At the KPC Hall.
KPC Hall.
Yeah, grown and sexy
gonna do
party.
something over there.
Oh yeah.
So, you on that ticket with Harold? Now?
Yeah, me, Harold Guillory, and
Harold Guillory,
Russ G.
How the artists right now in the what is known as the Southern Soul market, because that's the market you consider to be on, the Southern Soul market. How are y'all getting along? Y'all working together?
I mean, I work with a lot of them because I don't sing, so I'm not a threat. Okay. But a lot of those cats don't see eye to eye.
And why?
I see you singing.
Well, I can't sing. But
you're rapping.
I'm not a threat. But when it comes to them, it's all egos. It's just like in the main industry, you can't get two singers on one song.
So why?
Somebody want to be number one all the time. That's just the way it is. Nobody will settle for being number two together. We both number two. Somebody want to be better than the next.
Oh, why can't we both be number one?
I can't answer that one because.
But you understand? Why can't we both be number one?
Yeah.
And work together.
Well, the system isn't built that way.
Huh?
The system has never been built that way. You're never gonna have two number ones.
Well, Mike, listen. Until we understand that we gotta work together, and we can't continue to have this negative.
I understand where
destroy
you're going with this, but it's the law of nature. You have one king of the jungle. You got one person in charge of the United States. You got one person in charge of a corporation and a company. So you can't have too many people, to be number one. The laws of nature has never been built that way. Okay, everybody has a reason and a season. So, like he said, everybody want to be number one. Everybody want to be first. That's not gonna happen. Now you may have a group that's number one. You may have an industry that's leading whatever it is, but you're not gonna have two number ones. Anyway, even with the top 10, when you do with music, number one album, the number one song, whatever, there's never been, there's a tie and they're going to be tied forever. That's not going to happen. So, and I understand what he's saying, that everybody want to be, and don't get me wrong, that's competition.
Yeah.
But there's also
but the fans would determine who the fan base.
Yeah, so just do what you do, man, but come together and compromise. And
begin working together and open doors together. That's the negative just hold us back. I mean, if you got two people that's good at what they do, think about the money that we can generate together. That's my idea.
And understand that you're probably better together than
you are apart.
Because somebody, and we talked about this on the last show. Somebody who are not familiar with you, but familiar with the next person, and you guys are on a show together, well, then they're going to become familiar with who you are, what your music is about, how you present your talent by showing up to see somebody else. So look at it in that way, and I understand, going back to what you said, everybody wants to be number one. So, which I totally understand. But let me go another route here for a second. You said that, you turned a negative into a positive, which is good. But how many young men that came after you that are not here? because they didn't realize that, hey, I can do more, I can do better, but they stayed with the same mentality, the same route that they thought was the positive route of taking shortcuts and hanging out with the wrong people to do this and do that. So I want to commend you for observing where you were and where you wanted to go, and look at you now. You're doing things on your terms, right? These are your ideas that are coming to light. That so you can say you're the rebirth of what you wanted from when you were younger.
Yeah.
Okay.
You didn't let society deceive you.
Right.
Society decide your path in life.
And that's the key thing that every young man and every young woman needs to understand. We look at social media, there's so much negative. But let me tell you something. I don't care if you want to be a carpenter, a plumber, or whatever you want to be. Never let anybody dictate your future.
Right.
Society has a way of putting you where they think you belong, right? Like put you in your place. It's up to you to say, that's not what I want. That's not where I want to go. This is the road.
But some people just can't say that's not what I want. Some people tend to follow along with the program.
Exactly.
Yeah, everybody's not leader. You got to have leaders and you got to have followers. And we got leaders leading certain people the wrong way, and we got leaders leading people the right way. Like right here, he's leading his fan base the right way, not the wrong way.
And I applaud him because he's not an artist that produced negativity. And if you listen to what he said, he's got your crowd age is what groups? 50 on up, right?
All right.
That's your crowd group.
And he might have some,
younger.
Younger.
Yeah, that he don't know about.
Yeah, but the thing of it is, that's his main focus on the older group, because if you could get the older group going in the right direction, maybe they could get the younger going in the right direction also. One person can't do it by themselves.
No.
It takes a group of people,
But it's hard to build a team when the team not on the same page.
Of course.
And when a thing that breaks a lot of teams up is the greed.
Yeah.
The money, the greed.
Yeah.
You can't see too many. Even like when Bad Boy was big or No Limit, they had it all, but eventually people start leaving because it wasn't getting treated right.
Yeah.
You can't have $10 million and give me 500.
Well, that's always what happens in the music industry, because when you look at what's her name, the girl that just got killed in a car wreck.
Angie Stone.
Look what the record industry did to her. She had a lot of hits, but was she getting compensated correctly? No, she wasn't.
No.
Okay? And that's what hurt a lot of artists. So, sometimes you got to read the fine prints in the contracts, because that's how they always get us.
Yeah. Not just the fine print. You got to have your
you gotta have somebody who managing you to understand how to manage you.
Yeah.
In the right direction.
Everybody's not a manager.
That's right.
Because I watched this in, I don't want to bring the politics. I watch it goes on in politics. Everybody that's called themselves a manager is not really a manager.
Well, the record industry is one of the shrewdest industry there is, Wallace.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm gonna tell you that is the truth. You look at Clifton Chenier. You go back in the days of Clifton Chenier. He died broke. But somebody made money and still making money off of Clifton Chenier.
Well, that went on here in Lafayette.
Yeah.
You had a lot of good artists when I was coming up. That was all of that, know. But the industry wasn't picking them up because guess what? They didn't want to give them what they was worth.
Well, they kill them. They kill them.
Well, look at it right now. You have a lot of artists that are well known, but they have regular jobs.
Yeah, they got to work.
Yeah,
they got to work.
You got to survive.
So music is not your only task, all right?
No.
You got multiple tasks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know?
you have to.
You have to.
You have life. You got life insurance. You got regular
Bills.
insurance. You know,
got
you
bills.
have to have a retirement. I mean, listen. Let's look at it this way. You know, what you're doing is you're following your path, and we talked about the music that other people are playing. That I don't listen to some of the music. I'll be honest with you, but you understand these people are putting on a show for you. You know, look at your Jay-Z's. You know, he talks, raps about all this hard stuff in New York and everywhere else and this stuff. But guess what? You don't see him getting arrested.
No.
You don't see him, getting into arguments. You don't see him involved in crashes and dope deals. And you know why? Because of where he is.
Yeah,
right.
That may just be. And listen to I listen to Master P every now and then when he speaks, right? And he's trying to teach people the game, what he went through, how to change, how you have to, like you say, multitask, right? Because what's popular today may not be popular tomorrow, so you have to keep reinventing yourself, in different things that you do.
And you also have to invest in oneself. You have to, I feel like every artist have to invest in himself. We look at James Brown. People talk bad about James Brown, but one thing about James Brown was
they talked bad about him at the end, but at the beginning, James Brown was the star.
Well, but let me make you understand something about James Brown. James Brown would take that venue and he would rent that venue and he would put the show on. He earned 100% of proceeds from his show. Okay, he invested in himself. He bought 2 Lear jets to travel, and he didn't let corporate America keep him down.
Right.
Okay, and that's why they went after him for tax evasion, because he knew the game.
Well,
he learned the game.
They went after James Brown when they
couldn't control him.
When they introduced him to drugs.
And they couldn't control him.
When he got into the drug, that's when they took control of him. But before that, they didn't have control over James
But the
Brown.
music, the only thing the music industry is one of the hardest industry for people to grow.
Well, that depends. In my opinion, I'm not in the music business, but we just talked about multitasking. I mean, he says I'm not a singer, but he has a podcast. I'm not a singer, but you have a TV show, right? So where you fit in and how you are hitting that chisel on that rock to carve out, whatever it is that you want. The music industry, not just the music industry, man, but we have to find our niche, find that little crack in everything that we do and make it our own. So, he's traveling. Why couldn't I own a bus company or a travel company and said, hey, you can book a travel on my company. I'll make sure you get to and from your events, and we signed this contract, so everywhere you go, I got you. We don't have that.
Well,
we don't have the security company that's just for the artists that say, listen, I don't care if you pay me $200 or I'm gonna find somebody that's gonna roll with you to make sure that you get to and from your venue safely.
We got a black.
Those are the things that I'm talking about.
We got a black transportation company right now in the city of Lafayette.
Never know about who is that?
A&J Transportation, and
give
that's
him a shout out. I don't
know. That's my cousin Jason Ledette. Him and his wife got a transportation, and that's what they do. They bring people to different events, different shows. Unfortunately, they're not advertised properly, but yes, they do exist, and they got the proper bus to bring you to wherever you need to go.
Well, you see, that's something I learned new today.
Yeah.
But anyway, going back to Lil Runt. So you tell us some of the things that you got coming up, man, that you want people to
know that you got coming up.
Well, I got a lot of concerts coming up, but I just dropped a movie for Christmas called If the Christmas Story. This is my 6th movie, and a lot of people don't know that I'm actually the first person to do a movie here, 2006.
I remember that.
Yeah. So this is my 6th movie, and it's doing well right now, and the concept is called If. And the whole concept is, what if somebody that passed away could come visit you for Christmas and got to go back to heaven at 12 midnight?
What if?
What if?
That's a good topic.
And it'll make you cry.
Because you know what? And I like the topic because what if somebody could have come back from heaven and talked to us? Nobody ever came back and told us what it's like to be in heaven.
Yeah, and that was my movie I dropped for Christmas. So I'm constantly doing that and trying to just bust in. But like I tell a lot of artists now, I had a record deal. I was signed with Polygram in 1995. They had Anita Baker. I was the only rap artist signed with them, and they didn't know how to promote a rapper, but they gave the most upfront money, so we went with it. But they shelved me, and unfortunately other situations happened. But I learned that when I got back, I had to be relevant. So all this hardcore music, if you don't have big money behind you, you don't see hardcore events here. Like, no, they tried to bring 50 Cent one time, and they couldn't sell tickets.
Yeah, it didn't
Remember
work.
that at the
Yeah,
Cajun
yeah, it
Dome?
didn't work. It didn't
So
work.
the Southern Soul and all this other stuff, we work every weekend.
Well, Southern Soul market is a market that is blooming because it's bringing people together. And the only thing I don't like about it is that the artists themselves need to stop with the negativity and begin to continue to grow and grow together. Okay? Because at some point, just like we can lose Zydeco, we can lose Southern Soul.
Yeah, but it's just something that was made. So, I mean, you can make something, and if you stay with it, it's going to become like that. I mean, I remember when Southern Soul started, it was Tucker, Big Polk, and Tyree Neal. That was the three. And that was something made up, Southern Soul. And now it's continuing, but if you go like to Mississippi, Alabama, there are shows every weekend.
Yeah.
Like,
But not here.
10,000 people. I tell you, look, they bring the five
I done
same
been-
artists
I done been there. I done been
Yeah.
there. I done been to some of them shows.
every weekend.
And they're
Mississippi, Alabama, South Carolina run Southern Soul. You go to Texas, you might not hear much of it.
Well, now they
not much here.
It done cross over into Atlanta. It done cross over into
A little
Florida.
bit,
But
yeah.
think about those areas though. What honestly is there?
Huh?
What honestly is there?
What honestly is there?
Was there? There's nothing there. So when you bring something,
No, they got a
into
lot
it-
there. They got a lot there. They got a
No,
lot
I'm,
there.
talk,
They
I'm,
got a
talk,
lot
I'm
there.
talking about as far as decent shows is what I'm talking about. You know, so
Entertainment.
these guys are bringing in the music
Entertainment.
and they doing their thing. Well, I applaud them, and
Well-
I applaud those areas for showing them some love, which is what.
Well, we
this
got to
area
focus
needs to
on.
do.
We got to focus here on bringing some of that activity here, and working together and achieving the growth of this of the activity.
You know,
That's something that we can't do.
Let
I don't
me-
know why we can't do it here. It makes no sense that Run has to travel
Yeah.
other places, and he can't make money here at home.
Let me-
It make sense.
Let me ask you this question. So do you think that as an artist, that if people see you every weekend here locally,
I'm not saying every weekend here.
I know, but my question is, if people see you here locally every weekend, do you think at some point that your notoriety is going to die down?
Oh yeah, definitely,
So you have to leave
definitely,
to go to other places and let people miss you in order for you to come back.
definitely.
Correct.
It's-
So, is that happening, or you think that's not happening? Do you think that our artists in this area, because you talk about how in Mississippi is big because it's new for them, but here they see these artists almost every weekend at a trail ride or at a venue or whatever. So maybe it's starting to die down because I've seen his shows, I know what he's about, and I want to see
I
somebody
went to
else.
school with him. I live in
Yeah.
his neighborhood.
I wouldn't
So-
say that here. I would just say that entertainment is just not happening here.
It's not.
It's not. It don't matter who you bring here, because like I said, they bought 803 Fresh to Lake Charles and had 125 people, and you know what I'm saying. He got the hottest song in the country. So it's not about seeing the same people, because like I said, in the Alabama, Mississippi area, it's the same five artists, and
They get paid.
They you'll
get
see
paid.
them in a 40-mile radius. You'll see the same five artists
And get
every
paid.
weekend, and they're getting paid, and they're bringing 8,000, 10,000 people there to come see it.
But my question to you, okay, when you do a show here at home, can you make the money you make on the road
No,
here?
not even half of it.
Okay? Make it make
Well,
sense.
it goes back to what I'm
Okay.
saying.
Okay.
They're
Gotta
from
call-
here.
we got to call.
No,
ahead,
but
go
that's
ahead.
not how the game
Go ahead.
play.
Apparently
Let's
so.
answer the call. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the Community Matters Show.
Good morning, Brother Wallace, and good morning to this show for a long time on the AOC as a producer also for a long time. And we got to always emphasize, Brother Wallace, how valuable this platform is. There's no other from Atlanta to Houston have a full-service public access station like AOC could give exposure to digital creators. And I just appreciate Lil Ron, and because I covered many events you attended with Miss Janelle Shagwell, Brother Wiles, you remember?
Oh, yeah.
Hands on the Green, so many years, we got tons and tons of footage. But look, this is what I want to emphasize. Southern Soul has arrived, and Lil Ron is right, and Brother Oscar is right on that part, because if you looked at the game last night, the NBA Finals beginning, 803 Fresh was the featured performer at halftime. So the thing I like about him, he brought his whole Southern Soul genre to the national scene with that game. And I think Southern Soul has arrived. And because I listened to a show on WOL called Nelson Radio 1, a good friend of mine, he's a radio host, well known. All the advertisement on that station in D.C. is Southern Soul music. So Southern Soul has arrived. A lot of money is to be made, a lot of events, thousands appear every weekend if you go to those different events around the country, even California. But that's my comment. Now, my question to Lil Ron is about drill music, and you know where I'm going with this. And the thing, this is Black Music Month, and we want to celebrate Black Music Month, but a lot of people are upset about the way music has taken a turn when it comes to hip-hop, and especially the term drill music. I want to get your feeling on that, because a lot of the arguments I had when I did some interviews was that these young people are creative and that's the way they express themselves. But I don't see it that way when you're doing music that talks about going to somebody's gravesite and denigrate him and his family, the deceased person of your ops. So I'd like to get your opinion on that. I'm going to hang up and thank you guys so much. Great show, Brother Wallace, once again.
What's the term he's using?
Drill music.
Drill?
Yeah.
So what is that?
They talking
negative,
about
negative music.
killing and going to your grave and
Urinating.
take you out the grave and it's just immature stuff.
Drill music.
Drill
Yeah.
music, yeah.
But-
It's just something, man. Like people like negative. Even if you go on social media, every time I turn on, they fighting, and you got 5 million views. But if you see somebody praying or something, you don't get that.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So people, they thrive on negative.
Well, you know what, Ron? Let me tell you something. You got a lot of people get rich by holding people down and keeping them in a negative environment. Okay? When it pertains to that drill music, behind that drill music, there's somebody that's getting rich.
Yep.
Okay? And holding people down. We as people got to begin to understand what is the okie doke and what is not, and bring about changes. Okay? I mean, that's the way we got to look at it, man. And if we don't, and that's why I say, if artists don't begin to work together and to show love and, you know, and strive and build wealth together, we got to build wealth together.
Well,
And stop with the nonsense.
you know, Oscar, everything that you're saying, you're exactly right. But the bigger question is, how can we get all the artists together to change the scenery?
I have the
Right.
answer. The answer is to unite.
Well, uniting is the same thing as coming together.
Bring y'all could hold meeting. Y'all could form some type of group, just like, you know, the plumbers got the plumbers union, the air conditioning people got the air conditioning union. I mean, at some point, y'all need to form a group and unite, and stop with the nonsense.
I'm gonna go, since Mike is here. They got the police union.
All right.
How many of them is in the police union? You see, that's what you're talking about. We all have to come together regardless, you know. But when you talk about different unions and things, everybody's not in the carpenters union and things like that.
Let me say this. I think that, you know, whoever people consider, as far as the artists consider as their,
Number one.
not really number one, but I don't know, not the head of spokesman or who they respect. Put it that way. You need at least three of these artists or groups that all of the groups can say, yeah, I respect that person. And those people need to sit down, in my opinion, and like Oscar said, let's sit down and
have a talk,
have a meeting, and discuss and weigh some things that way things have to change. You know, I said it in the last show, and the show before that, is the artists, in my opinion, have a lot of power. They can make changes and force changes to certain things. Just like Chris, when he said, I'm not going to be in the open anymore because, you know, with all the shooting going on.
And I want so much security.
Thank you. They have that power. I said that once before. Yeah. So I think that, you know, somebody or groups, whomever, need to get together and say, you know what? We need to stop this foolishness. That's enough money for us.
Everybody's responsible.
And I don't understand why the artists themselves haven't gotten together and, like Oscar said, invest in themselves, and let's have a New Orleans Superfest here in these areas. Yeah. You know how much money
you're going to generate?
They could generate by saying, you know.
And that could go back into our community.
You know, and I mean, and you know, and they can start something.
Let me ask you guys a question. Who run the music industry
right now?
Right now, who run the music industry?
Corporate America.
Okay,
but I don't think,
America.
But you
got to get away from
corporate America, and I say that all the time, Wallace.
If we get away from corporate America and come together and form our own union, you understand me? We could do things.
Yeah. Corporate America got people fighting against one another. Okay, corporate America got people fighting against one another. Lil Run, that's a game.
But it's this, man. When you there's so many successful artists right now with a lot of money, but they just won't reach back because they don't want nobody to pass them up. And you know, like I said a lot of times, there's some artists that came out here that could have just came back and said, look, I'm taking all of y'all with me, and now I'm gonna do shows and. Everybody's going to be on the show until it blow up, and now I'm the new Motown. Yeah. But they won't do that because they already, okay, I'm getting this amount of money. I don't care about putting my money to help y'all. I know I'm getting this, and I'm number one.
Make sense, though.
That's just the egos, man. Yeah. It's you're going to find 1 out of 1,000,000 people that's ready to just take it upon themselves and say, I'm going to be the boss, and we're going to all eat. Yeah. I've seen so many people, man, and so many people could have been up here, but the greed is greed.
They stay at that certain level.
Yeah, it's greed because they're so comfortable being there, and they don't want nobody to come like this on them. It's greed. Greed kills everything.
Man, we got to stop that nonsense, man. We got to stop that nonsense. For those of you that listening,
we got to get away from corporate America.
Well, we'll never do that if the greed. We could have been got away from corporate America.
Yeah.
Just our race. We get so much money, man. Athletes, doctors, everything. We got a lot of money. We don't need corporate America.
But we don't know how to make that money make money.
They don't.
We don't want to make that money. Yeah, we don't want to make that money circulate.
They don't want to.
We need to make that money circulate.
You're always going to have a cog in the system somewhere. Someone that want to stop it, and because of whatever reason, and you know, but there's a lot of greed involved in whether unless people just say, listen, I can make a little bit of money, you know, now, and as things grow, of course, I'm going to make more money. But the money that I'm making, that I can make, and I see that I can be a part of something that's bigger.
I'm investing.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, once again, you can have a Superfest anywhere if these guys and women, because it's both, figure out how can we work together to continue our success and to pass on to those that's coming up, because they can be teachers as well. And you know, we had that Donna talked about that. You know, last show.
But what I don't like is that they stimulate the women. I mean, the women get paid less, and the women have to fight more than the men. I don't like that. I mean, listen, at some point, that's why I'm saying, at some point, everybody got to unite.
Well, you know, let's go back to Master P. You know, I heard some of his interviews and things like this here, how he sold what it was at the time, CDs out the trunk of his car.
It's the same way. It's the same way like Cash Money Records out of New Orleans. Them boys sold. They started out of the car.
Mm-hmm.
They started out of the van. Okay, and now right now what they do? They fighting amongst themselves.
Well,
You know why?
Because of
the
money. Because of money. Greed.
That's it.
Greed.
You could look at some of these shows.
But what gets me so? Let me tell you what's getting me, Wallace.
Mm-hmm.
These people fighting amongst themselves, and they're not understanding that no matter what we accumulate on this earth,
we can't take
nothing with us.
Yeah, but
so don't you think we should be making life easier for everybody in our circle?
Well, look at some of these shows. What is that? Temptation. They have as a documentary.
The Temptation, yeah.
Yeah, where they all together.
Yeah.
At the beginning.
But what hurt them at the end?
Greed.
All right.
Money.
And who wanted to be number one?
Yep.
Who wanted to be the star? Who wanted to be the lead? We got to stop with that nonsense.
Well, the thing of it is, we got to understand the power that is invested in us. We got power invested in us, but at the same time...
Wallace, we got people that put money to hold us down. That's what we got to understand. We got people that put money...
Corporate America. Corporate America.
But we help them. So
help 'em.
you can't blame them
We
because if you put all our resources and money together, we got more than corporate America.
Yeah.
But we put
corporate
that on
America.
ourselves. The main thing is for us to win, man. You gotta put passion over money.
That's right. Amen.
Yeah.
I wanna shake
Passion
your hand
over money.
And that's the name of the game.
Yeah.
Passion over money.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you love to do it, you'll do it for free.
Free. Yeah.
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 Well, that's just like here.
You know,
I love to do what I'm doing, and I ain't getting paid for it.
You know,
but I love to bring
the news,
news to the community that's listening, that's willing to understand what we are saying. You know.
Well, you look at corporate America right now. When we look at what we got in the White House, and I don't want to change the subject, but we look at what we got in the White House right now. Elon Musk and Trump fighting against one another.
That's good.
All right,
Yeah, well,
but they weeping what they put on American people.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, that chaos and drama.
You know, I heard this guy one time say, "Get your popcorn, sit back on your couch, and watch the ignorant that's getting ready to go down."
It's all about to come out. Everything. It's good.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
So, but the thing of it is, Ron, I am proud. I am very proud of you. You just don't know how I watch your show on Monday nights. I listen to you on Friday night because 92 is my favorite station to listen to. I'd rather listen at 92 than listen to any one of them that's on because 92 is black owned and operated.
That's right. That's
You know
That's
what
one
I
of the
mean?
black owned and operated
Yeah,
stations.
so you're looking at that and you picking that up, because you do have people listen to 92.
And they're not. And then one thing about 92.7 is not being controlled by corporate America.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the number one thing. Y'all, we just got to keep fighting for changes. People got to. But you being on the Southern Soul, in the Southern Soul market, you got to try to unite some of your brothers and sisters. Yeah. And sometimes just sitting down and talking with them and giving them words of encouragement could change people's mindsets.
Yeah, because
but it's got to start somewhere.
But look at where you came from the beginning. Mm-hmm. I know when you first got started, man, it was rough.
It's still rough.
Yeah,
it's still rough.
But it's a whole lot smoother
Yeah.
than it was when you first say, "This is in my dream. This is what I'm gonna do."
Oh yeah.
But you had to stick with it. You didn't give up on it. And that's what happened to a lot of us. We give up on what is really all about.
Well, the struggle ain't easy. The struggle is hard.
It ain't.
That's the name of the game.
It ain't easy at all.
The struggle.
And I squeeze between a lot of them. Right now, I'm in the process. I'm creating my own lane. You know what I'm saying? But they ask how you get to get incorporated with all these dudes because I deal with all of the Southern Soul dudes. You know what I'm saying? And they comfortable with me. Like I go to their house, they come to my house, and they're like, "Man, you a rapper? How you dealing with these dudes?" And I say, "Well, you just gotta be a people person with them."
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And no matter, like, I got a situation like we was in Keith Sweat house one day, right? In his crib, just talking, and a guy was with us, and he was like, "Man, we just did this and that," and we was at this. So Keith was like, "Well, shit, you don't need me." You know what I'm saying? I said, "Well, I do."
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't never let my ego or my pride. Look, I need all the help I can
everybody.
get. You know what I'm saying? I don't never come to these artists, even if I might have more than them, and say, "Man, I just did this bit." Nah, man, I need some help.
Yeah, well, you know, I needed you, and you came. You know, and I've been asking you, and you know, hey man, you got to call me. You got to call me, and I've been putting off from calling you. You know, but every time I see you, you tell me the same thing.
Yeah, I got so much going on, man.
Call me, and we'll get it together.
And you know, Rod, it's what Southern Soul is fighting, Zydeco is fighting.
Yeah.
Zydeco is kind of slacking down, man, a lot.
Well, because the artists can't come together.
No, and the
It's
price.
it's so much.
The price is to the roof.
No, but it's so much fighting amongst one another.
Oh, it been like that, though.
I mean, that's what's hurting them.
It been like
It's
that.
hurting them. It's not helping them. It's hurting them.
They got to understand in the Zydeco market that the Zydeco don't go too far unless you become international. You know what I'm saying? You got to start playing out the country. Other than that, a guy called me yesterday trying to bring a Zydeco group to Columbus, Georgia. And he was asking me, who can I bring? We like the music, but we don't know none of the artists because they don't come this way. I don't see Zydeco acts, Alabama, none of that.
Well,
I see him in Texas.
Well, because and the reason I come at it, you don't, because a lot of them have strayed away from the tradition. Okay, a lot of them strayed away from the tradition. So, you know, that's why you got a lot of them travel overseas and they got to go overseas. But by them fighting one another and can't come together and unite, that's why the guy calling you and saying, who should I bring? He don't know who to bring.
He don't know none of them, really. He just go on YouTube and see Zydeco. He like the sound.
But
So
make it make sense.
That's just...
I want to bring somebody, but I don't know who to bring.
They trying to bring something different to that market. They're trying to tap in that market because they see it here, but they don't know nothing about it. And so it's like you bringing boudin crawfish to California. A lot of them don't know.
But boudin crawfish took off in California.
Yeah, but they don't sell it there. They don't sell it there though. You got to bring it.
You got to bring it there.
And then you can't bring Richard sauces. They don't have a license to bring Richard
That's
sauces
right.
there. So you get it there. They love it, but it's to get it there.
Yeah. But it takes people working together to get it there.
You think California is bad? Go to Florida. I know people ordering stuff from here to Florida.
Oh, yeah.
The boudin, the boudin balls, and all that stuff.
Seasoning.
Yeah,
expensive
even
too.
the season.
Yeah.
You know, Brother Paul, you going to the little run show in Lake Charles? He left again.
Oh,
Lil Run, I applaud you.
Yeah.
You just got to keep up the good work. And like I said, you got to begin. You got to be
I
there.
might go check it out. Yeah, I might go check it out.
I told you he was coming.
check it out.
You got to be the words of encouragement to other brothers.
Hey, man, you
and
know
other
what?
sisters.
Hey, Lil Run, you
Hey.
know what y'all done created?
What's that?
The Chitlin Circuit. Hey, how you think we got back in the day, man? That was hot. Marvin Gaye, all of them went along that Chitlin
Yeah.
Circuit.
Yeah.
We were supporting one because we were forced to support each other.
They supported each other on that Chitlin circuit. That's one thing about that Chitlin circuit. It made money.
Yep.
You had Ike and Tina Turner on that Chitlin circuit. You had Gladys Knight and the
Marvin Gaye,
Pimp,
all of
Marvin
them, all
Gaye.
of them.
Run, united, we stand. Divided, we fall.
Yeah, and we got some of the most important artists here in that circuit.
Yeah.
Just from our area.
Yeah.
They could come together and start
Making
doing-
it happen.
Yeah, but won't happen.
Well,
Sad to say.
I hope by looking at this show and that they change their mindset.
I believe different. I believe all things are possible.
That's
You
right.
know
Through
what I
what?
mean?
Through who?
Through the eyes of God.
All right.
You know,
Always said.
And if we keep pushing,
It's gonna
you
happen.
know, it's gonna it can happen.
It will happen.
You
Not
know?
it will happen.
Yeah. But the thing of it is,
We gotta
if
keep pushing.
keep pulling the rubber band, and the rubber band
Let
gets
it
so
go.
tight, it's gonna pop.
Yeah.
You know.
We gotta
Well, I
keep
know
moving.
somebody say we got to change our ways.
That's
my
right.
one of my favorite songs off of Made.
Yeah, change our
word,
way.
the lyrics.
That's right.
Yeah.
We got to change our ways.
Well, first of all, we got to wake up. That's like the song say.
Wake
You
up,
know,
everybody.
Wake up, everybody.
Yeah.
We got to stop
right.
sleeping in bed.
That's
You know?
right.
You don't need no ticket. Just get on board.
Oh,
That's
that's right. You know, and like I'm gonna say it for all the people that's listening. You know, I enjoy what you're doing. I appreciate what you're doing. As an elder, you understand me? To a young person, I appreciate you, man. And I hope
That's what
all,
it's about, Brother White. You
I
hit it
hope-
on the head, brother.
I hope all the success in the world for you. I hope before I decide to leave, I might see you on the Grammy show, on the BET Award, you know, getting an award for everything that you're doing. And, hey, if I could ever be of any help, don't come ask me for no money because I'm broke. I'm on a fixed income.
It's all good, man.
But, you know, for far as my support, I'm always be there for you, man. Because, like I say, I remember when you was Lil Runt. Now you bigger Runt. Still Lil, your name is Lil Runt. And I remember you way back then, man. And, you know, I'm proud of you that you're still going forward.
The thing I always tell artists is, this is a hard thing to do, and because music has changed so much. But you got to keep reinnovating yourself and always understand that everybody not gonna be for what you're doing. But if you're doing the right thing, you got to just be your biggest fan.
Yeah.
Be your biggest fan.
Number
If you're the
one.
only person, if you're the only person in the room, perform. Be your
Yeah.
biggest fan. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
And start investing in oneself. I
Yeah.
think what holds us down, what holds a lot of us down, is that we don't invest back in oneself.
Right.
Okay?
Well,
In order to grow, we got to invest back in oneself.
Well, I wanna once again commend you because you know you had a vision, you had a path, and you acted on your vision, and you're on that path. So I want to say congratulations for following your dream and making it happen. Because a lot of people, you get there, well, I shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Yeah.
And I'm not hearing that from you, and I hope that we never hear that from you.
yeah.
That you always continue to put your best foot forward and continue to move forward. Even if you get knocked back a little bit, as long as you're still moving, take a step to the side and go through it.
See, like Dottie McCurkin said, we fall down, but we get back up.
So you're
Yeah.
following your path, you're following your dream, you're putting everything in motion, and there is no I shoulda, coulda, woulda. You're doing it. So
Ain't no stopping.
So keep doing what you're doing, brother,
Appreciate
and
it.
keep moving forward.
Appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. So, you know, we coming down to the final hour, and I want to let everyone know we have a second hour coming up, and Paul always say, you know, he gonna come and say it before we go off the air.
Yes, he will.
he always a little behind, but he's good. You know, I want to appreciate you, Runt. I appreciate you, man. You just don't know, and I hope I'm speaking for all of us on the panel here. You know, on the show.
Please.
You know,
Well, you sure never got my support, brother.
I appreciate it, man. And I love all the people that been supporting me from day one. You know, I won't stop, man. And hopefully I can touch some lives. You know what I'm saying? Stop a lot of the killing, a lot of the gun
Man,
violence, a lot of the...
that's one of the nonsense that
Yeah.
we have, man. I don't understand how we hate one another so much that we have to get the gun to kill one another.
yeah.
We hate ourselves. That's what that is. Because you're going to sit down and
Self-hatred.
it's...
Self-hatred.
Yeah, it's
But
nonsense,
it
man.
didn't used to be like that.
So y'all, we done come down to our hour. Come on, Mike.
Yeah, I want to just give a shout out to Dr. Quentin Briscoe, man. He was on our show a couple of shows ago, man. He's a chiropractor. So I
Got
want
a
to give a
call
shout out to
coming in.
him and let everybody know that, you know, he means what he says. When he
Caller,
gets
you
right.
at the
So,
end of the
Dr.
hour.
Quentin Briscoe. I wanna
You
give a
have
shout
to
out
call back in the next hour.
Let's see what
if
she
you
got to
don't
say.
mind.
Hello.
Hello.
Let's see what she got to say.
Hey, Brother Wallace, Brother Mike,
Nobody is more prepared for an emergency than Dogman.